Lupita Nyong'o has apparently done an interview with The Hollywood Reporter in which she gives some thoughts on recasting. Lupita Nyong'o says she supports Marvel's decision not to recast T'Challa. That is not the death of the Black Panther. That's the whole point. It's laying to rest T'Challa and allowing real life to inform the story of the movies.
This is stupid. This is stupid and it's revisionist. I don't know why. Well, I know why. It's because she has money. But when you start speaking about things that you don't have a level of expertise in, like, I don't doubt that Lupita researched the character of Nakia. I don't doubt that at all because she's a very good actor. And I do think that she puts a lot of time and effort into her craft because it comes through in her work. I don't doubt that she knows who that character is. I doubt that she knows what the Black Panther comic book is about. I doubt that. I doubt that she understands and knows what the character of T'Challa was meant to represent. Because you're saying similar things to what Nate Moore said, and it's not accurate. This is not a matter of opinion. The Black Panther franchise was not built on the idea that the mantle was always going to be passed around. It was not. That set of lineage being passed down is meant to be in addition to the protagonist. It is in addition to the story of the protagonist. It is addition to the story of the protagonist. I'm not dumb. You are not either. So now all of a sudden that we're trying to get the public on our side, you're trying to convince me that the Black Panther title is about whoever is wearing the suit. Stop it. Stop doing that. That's insulting to the people who have been reading these comics all these years. It's insulting to me, and I've only been reading them for 5 or 6 years. I can read a book better than you can feign emotional. I can understand the actual real life emotion about having to do work where somebody was and now they're not because they're dead. That's real. That makes sense. What doesn't make sense is you trying to revise the history of comic books that have been around since the 60s. Don't say that. Do not say that because it's not true. And it makes it seem like you are pushing a corporate narrative as opposed to telling the truth. You told the truth about the Woman King. Why can't you tell the truth here? You were fine. This is literally the only part of this statement that I have a problem with. You were fine saying that it was hard for you to go back to work. You were fine saying what you said at the end. The last part of the quote. This middle section, the Black Panther isn't dying. That's the point. No, stop it. Stop. Stop it. That's narrative setting. That's not even an opinion that you can back up with anything substantial. You killed T'Chaka before we could even get a chance to figure out what kind of leader he was, and immediately thrust his son into the role. So don't tell me that it's about all these other Panthers. You ain't show me Bashenga. You ain't show me Azuri. You ain't show me none of them. We got T'Chaka, and that's it. And we got him for a very limited amount of time. Stop this. Not to mention that your producer is on camera telling us exactly what it is and how this franchise is successful. Now that we're changing course, and we're very obviously changing course, y'all folks just won't admit that this direction that the films are going in is a course correction, but you won't even admit that. You're sitting up here trying to feed the idea that this is the way it was always supposed to be. And if it was, then y'all had it fucked up from the start. You had it fucked up from the start. But I just have a hard time believing that because, one, it's not how you've built any other superhero film franchise. Number two, you had the highest grossing solo film in your studio's history, not doing it that way. But I'm supposed to believe you when you tell me not what I've read, not what I've seen, not what everyone else is giving. I'm supposed to believe you that what the Black Panther is all about is somebody else taking that baton and running it forward, not T'Challa. Now, I understand these people are under contract and they have to say what they have to say. But that part is not even something that the company, even though they have said, but they're just wrong, folks. You can be wrong. You can be wrong. And that part of it can be proven. Not just by the canonical history of the comic book character, but through your own statements. how the last movie was formulated, how successful it was, how successful ensemble movies in the superhero genre are, how ensemble movies in this phase of your own cinematic universe has gone.
The part about allowing real life to inform the story of the movies doesn't...
I didn't even get to that part.
I was going to say, it doesn't really sit right with me, considering the fact that there is, as you've mentioned, decades of lore for the Black Panther that we can directly source all this information from. There's no need to include real life to inform said story.
Once again, that doesn't happen anywhere. Why we're going so hard to make that a thing, I don't know, but it's not. They didn't kill Paul Walker in a car crash. They didn't have Genie commit suicide in Aladdin. And if those things sound extremely morbid to you, they absolutely should. If those things sounded disgusting when I said them, they should. Because what's getting ready to happen to this comic book character in the name of honoring the actor that used to play him is going to be nothing short of disgusting. Letting real life inform the comic books? Woman, you have been on screen with a talking raccoon. There are going to be people who can breathe underwater riding whales on their way to destroy Wakanda in this movie. What are you talking about? It's like you couldn't possibly think a person reading this interview had a brain. Yes, we must let real life inform our storytelling about flying mutants and secret African nations that have never been colonized. We must.
Why have we never gotten a pandemic in any of these Marvel movies? Real life is obviously in superhero movies now. It is about
justifying at this point what we are getting ready to see. They need to justify it because it's so overtly morbid. This is not okay. You don't have a right to reenact someone's real life death for money. And when you really boil it down to brass tacks, that's all you're doing. Save your virtue, save your tears. You recreated Chadwick's death for money so that people would come out and buy tickets. It's what you did. You're not going to be able to live that down. I don't care how successful this movie is. Go ahead and make the billion. It will forever be the billion off of this man's death. It will forever be the blood money from Chadwick's death. From the reenactment of his passing and his funeral. That now apparently not only the cast and crew have rights to, but the entire Marvel fandom has a right to this man's funeral.
Lupita then goes on to say, I don't have the patience, I don't have the presence of mind, or I don't have the objectivity to argue with that, referring to recasting T'Challa. I don't. I'm very biased.
She said there are many reasons why people want the character recast. That was the first part of the quote. Most accurate thing that she said in this entire interview. And it literally, if you are an objective person, nullifies everything she said before. If I just sat up here for the last 10 minutes and told you all the things that I think about the character being recast, in my opinion, and at the end of it, I say that I'm not even in the frame of mind to entertain a counter argument, I'm too biased, everything that I said prior to that point is null and void. But at least that's how objective people think. If you're going to admit a rank bias, then your judgment cannot be trusted. That's what bias means, y'all. So why should I even pay a second thought to what your opinion is, especially the one on letting real life imitate fiction? Why should I take that with any levity? You are extremely biased in this. So much so that you would willingly take a role off the table for a person that looks like you at a company like Disney permanently because you're sad. I'm sorry, y'all, that's selfish. It's selfish. There's nothing virtuous about that. That should not make you feel good. That is selfish. Just as selfish as it would have been for Chadwick to say no one else could ever play T'Challa, which never happened. It is literally selfish for you to say, so that I feel better about the work I'm doing, I'm going to take an opportunity from the next black actor to come into Disney Marvel. The next black actor trying to get into Disney Marvel. It's literally selfish. It's not a virtuous explanation for what is happening. And at the end of the day, you're still left with you and all of your cast and crew members getting cut checks off of recreating Chadwick's death. That's not going to change now. It's not going to change 10 years from now when you have to talk about this. That's not going to change. That is not a good thing.
Any thoughts on Lupita finding out about Chadwick's death from a text from Viola Davis?
I've always maintained to y'all that these people are actors, and the level of emotion that they've put on every question around the character being recast lets me know that it was pointed, like it was strategic in a way. They wanted to lean heavily on the emotion as to not be criticized for any of the various moves that they made to try and correct the obvious hole of Chadwick Boseman not being there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a clear example of this. So we've got Hollywood Reporter on one side. Man, I could barely even get back into work. I couldn't even focus. It was so hard to even do the work because of Chadwick's passing. And you got notified of his passing by someone outside of the production. Like, you found out probably around the same time we did.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, and that part I am not using to call her a liar or say that she hasn't been truthful about her feelings to Chadwick, right? Because that's it would be just as lowbrow for me to make a determination based off of that as she's making. What I'm saying is, take these people's words with a grain of salt. Every time they try to make you cry about Chadwick, you don't have to. You don't have to. Because when we cried about Chadwick, we cried real tears. And now, 2 years after his death, not saying that grief timetable is the same for everybody, I'm able to talk to him without trying to make you sad so that whatever I say about him will go over easy. I am not trying to manipulate your emotions as to protect myself from criticism. And that's what I feel like we've gotten out of a lot of the cast and crew. Now, within that, I can be fair and say that they're probably contractually obligated to do a lot of that. And so the best way that they know how to wade through some of this is to lean on the emotion of Chadwick because it's the truest thing to them. But man, if I hear some of y'all in the aftermath of this movie coming out, looking for a helping hand, looking for some sympathy, looking for the same type of, support that a Ray Fisher got after he dealt with Warner Brothers and Alfred Amata. I'm not giving it. I'm not. Because if you are willing to collect a check off of this man's death and then go out there and lie about it, I can't take that. Can't take that back. Can't take that back. You cannot. I understand you got a job to do. I understand that. And I get it. But if you come out after the fact and we're doing a complete 180 and, I said this should have happened and I said that shouldn't have happened and, I said Chadwick wouldn't have. There are much more benign statements that you can give as opposed to making everyone feel sorry for you for your loss. Only for you to then walk that loss out onto a movie screen for consumption to sell tickets. So that's where I'm at with it. I felt like the most accurate thing she said was that she was biased. Mm-hmm. And if more of the outlets would have posted that part of the quote, I think it would have been a lot better for her online after this. Because they sure did like to leave that part out until you actually read into the article.
Yeah.
But the other spot, the other stuff, I think we can just chalk up to company speak. Yeah. Because it's literally not accurate. It fits their narrative. It fits what they're trying to do with this movie now, but it is not what they've previously told us. It's not even previously what they've done. You cannot even point to me a successful, and by successful I mean by Marvel standards, venture of a ensemble cast like that with characters that are not Avengers level. Yeah, sure, No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness, and if you consider those to be ensemble films, then yeah, those are going to do well. Right? I'm talking a Shang-Chi movie with everybody but Shang-Chi. I'm talking a Hawk movie led by She-Hulk and all the other Hawklings. Scar. Fortunately enough, you'll never even get a chance to see something like that because this is the only property where you'll see something like that be allowed. That's enough because I'm actually getting tired of talking about this shit. Let me know what you guys think about Lupita's comments in our comments below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and come back next week for more content.
Absolutely. And make sure you check out our Recast T'Challa playlist full of all of the news, the press news, and information that we've gotten around Black Panther 2 and recasting T'Challa. And make sure you subscribe for more because anytime we get any kind of news or anything of that nature, we'll be sure to review it.